Welcome back to Fox 5's On the Hill Live this Sunday morning. You know, we've been talking about this possible government shutdown that is set for 2 days from now. Of course, there's been the indictment of the former FBI Director Jim Comey, and President Trump now saying that he's going to send federal troops over to Portland, Oregon. Want to welcome back in Maryland Republican National Committee woman Nicolee Embrose. Nicolee, good to see you again.
Great to be here.
Good to have you. So, you know, we are 2 days away from a government shutdown,
right.
and it does seem at times that these shutdowns, you know, become like the sky is falling.
Right.
That we talk about these things, oh my gosh, there's another deadline, and we get right up to it and we avoid it. The longest shutdown we ever had was close to, I think, 33 days
right.
under the first Trump administration. The politics of these things already, we see the Democrats and Republicans starting to play the blame game. How does it shake out normally as who the public ultimately decides is to blame for this? The party that is in power or the party that is out of power?
Sure. Well, I think to answer your first question, this situation has been so overplayed that the American public just dismisses talk of a government shutdown because in the end,
they don't think it's going to happen.
It doesn't impact them. Yeah. And in the end, government workers still get paid. And in the end, it can be a holiday. But I think this year could be different for a few reasons. Number one, you know, as you mentioned, President Trump's administration has been doing some reductions in force, and more of that is threatened. And then there's times with Chuck Schumer's messaging that he is playing a different sport in a different arena. You know, here he's still talking about Medicaid, and it's wildly popular with the American public to not pay Medicaid benefits to illegal aliens. And when you're using something like that as your leading argument, I think it falls on deaf ears with the American public.
Last time around, though, when we were facing the last government shutdown, Schumer got hammered by his own Democrats for agreeing to a deal that kept the government open. So are Republicans trying to have it both ways here? On the one hand, Chuck Schumer helped him out and kept the government open last time, but now he's being kind of viewed as the villain in all of this.
So I think Chuck Schumer has a few games to play, and one is his sinking popularity in New York. Very liberal state, as we know. And then on the other hand, we have just these incredibly strong leftist progressive forces completely taking over the Democrat Party, and he's kowtowing to that. And I think I would urge Democrats that is not the direction to go. People want to see sane, rational people of both parties, but particularly Democrats standing for law and order, standing for being able to get your fiscal house in order, and stop it with talk of funding anything for illegal aliens.
Isn't there risk in a shutdown, though, for Republicans? Republicans control the House of Representatives right now. They control the United States Senate. They control the White House with the president in charge. Is the argument being made and a tougher hill to climb that if the government shuts down, it's Democrats' fault? So
I understand your point, but people also understand math. And we know we need 60 votes in the U.S. Senate, and Republicans only have 53. So, sure, of course you have to come to a compromise. And, of course, President Trump is happy to meet with anyone, as he is going to be meeting with leadership early this week. So we'll see how that plays out. But President Trump does seem to keep winning these arguments.
By and large, most people, I agree with what you're saying.
Yep. They
kind of view this as the sky is falling. But when it happens, it is going to interrupt business as usual for the government. The administration has been saying they might use this as a reduction in force, a RIF, cutting more government jobs. Given the fact that some departments are actually hiring back fired DOJ employees, does that send a mixed message about whether we're hiring or firing?
So I think there is a big effort and desire to make sure if someone was actually cut because that job was redundant or because of restructuring, that it should stay that way. And I know there are games afoot, but I think games is exactly the word for it.
You've been in politics a while, and you've seen trends come and go. We're in a moment right now. I don't think that this country's maybe seen since the late 1960s.
Sure.
Charlie Kirk's assassination, obviously the rhetoric has been, you know, white hot on fire on both sides. Do you see a way out of this?
So I think it's a very clear answer. I absolutely call upon Democrat leadership to denounce political violence. This is clearly a leftist problem. And I'll pull some poll numbers for you. YouGov said 26% of liberals 18 to 44 believe violence is sometimes justified, 4 times greater than those on the right. Daily Caller said 26% of youth believe America's better off after Charlie Kirk's assassination. And what is the most disturbing, Rasmussen, over half of liberals and 40% of registered Democrats think Charlie Kirk's assassination is understandable.
Do Republicans have a role in lowering that temperature, though?
So I don't know Republicans that are calling for violence, who are calling Democrats Hitler, who are calling Democrats tyrants and communist dictators like Kamala Harris did.
The president did say he hates his enemies, though. Yeah.
Within hours of Charlie Kirk's memorial service, Kamala Harris started her book tour saying that President Trump was a tyrant and a communist dictator. Hours of Charlie Kirk's memorial. The only way this changes is if Democrat leaders stop it with the rhetoric and calling for violence, essentially.
We have to stop right there because we're flat out of time.